What up, guys? Another talk video today as well. Things didn't really go as planned today. Yeah, we just didn't have time to make the videos that we wanted to do. So it's gonna be another day with talking. And first off, point one, I'm sorry for in changing Nikken's flow yesterday in his video. I shouldn't goof around too much when we talk about serious things. So that's on me. So it will be better in the future. All right, so I've gotten some questions about Thor, for example. So I'm actually gonna film it in on Friday. I've been trying to get that for a long time. And then we're also gonna talk about why there's not gonna be a wrestling match between him and Hannes. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend for sure. Some other questions. You've been asking about if I actually climbed any rope at all. I used to, a lot, like back in the days, before the injury and stuff like that. My power endurance these days is, as I've said in previous videos, there's something I really need to work on, because I can do maybe like 1 or 2 hard moves, and then I'm like completely demolished. So that what I need to do is then be in a tunnel and continue training there to kind of be able to do more harder moves on top of each other. And it's too hard for me to like find hard boulders to do it on. So the tunnel that we have is by far the best way to do it, and that's how I train it. I think that's also how Nikken and Axel train for lead climbing as well. So it's like it's a good place to build that power endurance. There's actually a good question for Nikken from Alec ERB. And that question is like, how did Nikken start? How did he get so good at climbing, and what is his future ambitions? What are your future ambitions, Nikken? How did you get so strong? When did you start this journey?
Can I sit in the chair?
Yeah, you take the chair.
Move it, dad boy. Oof. Yellow. My history with climbing. When did I start climbing? Years and years ago. There was like a super small rec center, and I always for some reason I always loved climbing. It just kind of came from somewhere. I think from trees, if I had to guess. But it was like a super small rec center in my town of Carbondale, and they had it's called the Pebble Wrestlers. It was like a bouldering and sport climbing competition team. And I started that when I was young, like 10 or 11. And it's called Pebble Wrestlers because there was like this big wall friend of the team coaches, and she did like 1,500 meter big walls. And so she'd be like, oh, you guys are like pebble wrestling as bouldering. And we all hated the name because we're doing like super noble things with with the bouldering and climbing small pebbles. So that's where that came from. And I was doing like training once or twice a week, but not even training, like climbing with core, and then doing competitions on the weekends. I was like, all right, that's cool. And then I got into the school that I accepted to for high school had its own like climbing team, and they had their own school gym. And that's when I went from like 2 days a week to 5 or 6. And that's what was like my big jump starting thing. And just climbing a whole bunch and getting better and better just by doing it a bunch. How did he get so good? I just spent all my time in the gym, honestly. Other people would be like, time to lunch, like time to eat food. And I would just like spend every possible minute in the climbing gym. Just like eating projects, doing everything that I could to get better. But people are like, people kind of ask me how my fingers get so strong. And that's actually more of a recent development. They've always been good, but in my last year of high school, I went on like a really long canyoneering trip, and my boots didn't fit quite correctly. So on the first day of like this 8-day epic, I started bruising both my Achilles heels super badly. So I had 8 days where they just got worse and worse and worse. And so by the end of the 8 days, they were just like, I was kind of facing a 2-month recovery time with no shoes whatsoever, and like painful walking with flip-flops even. So I couldn't wear climbing shoes at all. So basically I spent 2 months hangboarding every day, which is about as exciting and fun as it sounds it is. But through that time, I got to really connect with my fingers and my skin and learn the ins and outs of hangboarding. And somehow, by the time I got out of it, I was actually somewhat stronger. My climbing was shit, but I could climb. I could like hang on forever. And yeah, so then I competed in regionals. It's kind of a funny story. I still couldn't wear climbing shoes, but I'd been like, I wanted to go to nationals that year, and I was like, all right, so let's do this. So I went to regionals, and I climbed with like, you know when you put your shoes on, you can walk around, you feel pulled down the heels. I did all my regional problems like that, and I somehow qualified like 4th, made to divisionals, and then divisionals to nationals. So it was pretty cool. But because I was stupid with that and climbed when I shouldn't have for regionals, I pushed my recovery time like another couple weeks and just kept on hangboarding. So that's kind of that. Future ambitions, I just want to climb rocks. To put it simply, like this is kind of like the first, I thought when I was in high school I was climbing as much as I wanted to. But that's just not true. Like this is like I climb every day almost. Sometimes I take rest days. But this is what I want to do. Like I love climbing indoors or outdoors. Whether it's training, leading, whatever, like I just love climbing and whatever forms it's in. So future aspirations, continuing to being a climber and not getting injured, and progression in some way, but hopefully that progression turns into World Cups is kind of where I've always wanted to go. But the skill and strength that you need to do that is so crazy high. Like 8B is like the starting point. So I think I should shoot for like 8B, 8B plus, and then see if that transfers over to World Cups maybe. I think I need to compete more as well. Sponsors kind of goes along with that, but for now, I just like to climb. If World Cups happen, that's great. If not, then you know what? I'll keep trying. So I think that's kind of everything. You guys will actually appreciate this. I got a new tattoo. Little chalk bag, which I'm super hyped about. And that's kind of that. My parents aren't super happy about me getting tattoos. So they don't know yet, but I'm gonna have to tell them sooner or later. But I think that's kind of my whole spiel for this video. Oh, people want to do viewer Overwatch games. I'll put my Battle.net thing in the description, or my Battle.net tag plus friend code, and put that in the description so you guys can add me and we can play some games together, because I think that'd be super fun. And yeah, let's call that good for tonight.